All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and do some problems. And I'm going to tell you on number 3, you always have to be very careful when we're talking about trips. Because one thing you do need to remember is that you've got to remember that if you are thinking about a trip, if it asks only one way, then you have your answer. You might not have to figure something else out. But when you are asking to find something round trip, you need to think about that. This is one of the problems. It says, assume that Mrs. Grang's car travels 14 miles on each gallon of gas. If she travels to visit her niece who lives 133 miles away, how many gallons of gas will Mrs. Gang need to make that round trip? Okay. Now, first of all, it's only 133 miles to go one way. To go round trip, she has to come back. So we need to figure out how many miles does she actually go. Well, if she lives 103 miles away to get to her niece, she then has to come back home, which would be another 133 miles. And if I do the math, I can set it up. It is going to be that she actually has to travel 266 miles. Okay. Now, of that 266 miles, every 14 miles, she gets 1 gallon of gas. So we're going to figure out how many gallons of gas will she need. So I'm going to take that 266 and I'm going to divide it by 14. Okay, now here's that fun one. 14 is a pretty small number, so it's pretty nice and easy, but I can look at this. Can 14 go into 2? No. Can 14 go into 26? Yes, it can. Well, then you need to think to yourself, how many times? Well, if I do it 1, it would be 14. If I do it 2, I know that 14 plus 14 equals 28, and that's going to be too big. So it's only going to be 1. Okay, so I'm going to do 14. 1 times 14 is 14. 6 minus 4, sorry, is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, and I need to bring down my 6. So now I have 126. Well, this now is where I need to figure out, well, 14 can go into 126 how many times? Well, I'm going to round that down to 10, and I'm going to go 10, 20, or actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round it to 15s because I'm going to count by 15. So I've got 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135. All right. So I'm actually going to look right here and say it goes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to try 8. So I'm going to do 14 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. Regroup my 3, 8. It's 112. I'm going to try this one. I know that it said 135. It's greater than, but remember I did round up by 1, so I know it's going to be less than that. But I'm just kind of looking at this, and if I add 14 to that, it might be really close. So let's do 14 times 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Regroup my 3. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 3. Oh my, look at that. It's 126. So it goes in 19 times. So how many gallons of gas will she need? She will need 19 gallons of gas to be able to go and visit her niece. All right. So number 4 is going to be an A and a B. And so what we're going to do is we are going to do a couple different problems. And it says Lewis brings 79 pencils to school. After he gives each of his classmates 15 an equal number of pencils, he will give any leftover pencils to his teacher. So we need to figure out how many pencils he is going to give to his teacher. So I have 79 pencils and he has 15 classmates, and I want to know how many that I can give to his teachers. Well, guys, I've already counted by 15s up here. So I'm going to take a look and I don't even have to like multiply this out because it's 15. 75 is the closest. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do 5 minus 75 because 5 times 15 is 75. I'm going to get 4 left over. So he gives his teacher 4 pencils because each of his friends get those 5. This is how many is left over, and that's what he gives to his teacher. But then it says if Lewis decides instead to take an equal share of his pencils along with his classmates, will his teacher get more or fewer? So when he did up here, he did 15. He didn't include himself. So now he is going to be the 16th student. And so now I need to divide it by 16. So I could kind of look here. If I've got 79, I could check and see. Let's check my work. Can I do 16 times 5? Well, let's see what 16 times 5 is. So it's going to be 80. So I can't do it times 5. So 16 times 4. Oops. So 16 times 4 is 64. So each kid's going to get 4 pencils. I'm going to subtract 64. 9 minus 4 is going to be 5, and 7 minus 6 is 1. So I actually have 15 pencils left over. So will his teacher get more pencils or fewer pencils? Well, his teacher will get more pencils. Okay. If you guys think about it up here, the reason why you know that his teacher is also going to get more is because the remainder is going to be 4. And if each kid got 5 pencils here, to give Lewis an equal amount, you can't do that with those 4 remaining. So we know that the kids were going to get less and his teacher is going to get those 15 pencils.